Basic economics. A parable for the modern economy. Have you ever thought about how much we rely on people from all around the world to provide us with the goods and services we use every day?
No, I haven't really considered that before. Can you give me an example?
Sure, let's look at a typical day. You wake up and pour yourself juice from oranges grown in Florida and coffee from beans grown in Brazil. The clothes you're wearing are made of cotton grown in Georgia and sewn in factories in Thailand.
Wow, I had no idea so many different places were involved in producing the things I use every day.
Exactly, and that's because people trade with one another. They don't do it out of generosity, but because they get something in return.
I see, so it's a mutually beneficial exchange. But why would someone choose to become dependent on others for goods and services?
Well, let's consider a simple example. Imagine there are two people in the world, a cattle rancher and a potato farmer. Each of them would like to eat both meat and potatoes.
Okay, go on.
If the rancher can only produce meat and the farmer can only produce potatoes, they could choose to be self-sufficient. But then they'd be limited to just one type of food. By trading with each other, they can enjoy a greater variety.
I see, so the gains from trade allow them to have a more diverse diet. What if they're both capable of producing both goods, but one is better at it?
Good question. Even if one person is better at producing both goods, there can still be a reason for them to trade. If the rancher is better at raising cattle and growing potatoes than the farmer, they can still benefit by specializing in what they do best and trading with each other.
I understand now. Specialization and trade can make both people better off, even if one is more skilled at everything.
Exactly. That's the essence of the gains from trade, which is one of the key principles of economics. Production possibilities. Okay, let's talk about production possibilities. Suppose a farmer and a rancher each work 40 hours a week and can choose to grow potatoes or raise cattle.
Interesting, so they have to decide how to allocate their time between the two activities?
Exactly. According to the table, the farmer can produce 1 pound of potatoes in 10 hours, or 1 pound of meat in 20 hours. The rancher is more productive, producing 1 pound of potatoes in 8 hours, or 1 pound of meat in 1 hour.
I see, so the rancher is more efficient at both activities. How does this affect their production possibilities?
Well, the production possibilities frontier shows the different combinations of potatoes and meat that the farmer and rancher can produce. For the farmer, the frontier is a straight line, indicating a constant trade-off between the two goods.
And what about the rancher's production possibilities frontier?
The rancher's frontier is also a straight line, but with a different slope due to the differences in productivity. If the rancher devotes all his time to potatoes, he can produce 5 pounds, and if he focuses on meat, he can produce 40 pounds.
Fascinating. So the production possibilities frontier really illustrates the trade-offs these individuals face in allocating their time between the two activities.
Exactly. Without trade, the production possibilities frontier also represents the consumption possibilities frontier, as each individual can only consume what they produce.
Specialization and Trade.
Farmer, my friend, have I got a deal for you? I know how to improve life for both of us. If you stop producing meat altogether and devote all your time to growing potatoes, you'll be able to produce 4 pounds of potatoes per week. If you give me one of those 4 pounds, I'll give you 3 pounds of meat in return.
That seems like a good deal for me. But I don't understand why you are offering it. If the deal is so good for me, it can't be good for you too.
Oh, but it is. If I spend 24 hours a week raising cattle and 16 hours growing potatoes, I'll produce 24 pounds of meat and 2 pounds of potatoes. After I give you 3 pounds of meat in exchange for 1 pound of potatoes, I'll have 21 pounds of meat and 3 pounds of potatoes. In the end, we'll both get more of both foods than we have now.
I don't know. This sounds too good to be true.
It's really not as complicated as it seems at first. Here, I have summarized my proposal for you in a simple table.
These calculations seem correct, but I am puzzled. How can this deal make us both better off?
We can both benefit because trade allows each of us to specialize in doing what we do best. You will spend more time growing potatoes and less time raising cattle. I will spend more time raising cattle and less time growing potatoes. As a result of specialization in trade, each of us can consume both more meat and more potatoes without working any more hours.